But let's start off with Queer, Joe, the latest movie directed by Luca Guadagnino, his second movie of the year after Challengers, from a screenplay by Justin Kuritsky, based on the 1985 novella by William S. Burroughs. The DP on this was Sayambu Mukdipram, a Thai DP who was the DP on Uncle Boone Meek and Recall His Past Lives, baby. This dude's legit. Are you kidding me?
He's the DP of every fucking Luca movie.
Amazing. Oh, that's Lucas. That's Lucas.
Yeah, Call Me by Your Name, Challengers. We talk
there
about this
you
every
go.
time we talk about Luca.
Joe knows Luca. Joe knows his Luca.
We know about Mukdipram.
All right, okay. I'm just shouting him out. I didn't know
He
it was
DP
Lucas
Trap.
guy. That's right. He did DP Trap. He did DP Trap.
Fuck the trap haters.
Set in 1950s Mexico City, this film follows an outcast American expat, Daniel Craig, who becomes infatuated with a younger man, Drew Starkey. We also got Jason Schwartzman here. We got Leslie Manville in here, okay? Joe, what'd you think about Queer?
What'd you think about Queer? What'd you think about Queer?
What is that? What, you want me to start?
I absolutely want you to start.
All right.
It's called The Plank, and you're going to walk it, buddy.
This is chess, baby. It ain't checkers. So I did tease my review of Queer to Joe earlier, and that's why he is setting me up for this. But I'm very confident in my opinion about Queer. It's just my opinion. It's just one person's opinion.
Let's hear it, Brett.
Here we go. I was very excited to see Queer, Joe.
Oh,
I
here
could
we
not
go.
wait. I was very
Unbelievable.
excited. I am a big Daniel Craig fan, and not just the Bonds. I was watching his BBC shit before that. I loved Layer Cake, okay? I'm with Daniel Craig all the way. I'm always rooting for Luca, whether you believe it or not. I do, in fact, want to like his movies. I would love to like his movies. But unfortunately for me, and I thought this was the one, Joe. I was telling you, I was like, this is going to be the Luca that gets me, Joe. This is it. This is my Luca. He's doing Burroughs in Mexico City. This is my Luca. But unfortunately, despite a couple high points, Queer did not do enough to dissuade me from the belief that Luca Guadagnino is a fraud as an artist. A fauteur, not an auteur, a fauteur who aspires towards visionary aesthetics, but never shows me anything that feels novel or revelatory. And the big asterisk here, I will say, Joe, the big asterisk, okay, and there is an asterisk, is there are sequences in this movie, like in Challengers, that are astounding. The ayahuasca trip comes to mind. Altered States did it first, but the ayahuasca trip comes to mind. But my problem with Luca is if your directing style amounts to, I'm going to throw all the shit at the wall, inevitably some of that shit's going to stick, baby. And some of it did stick here, but a lot of it slid down the wall and made a stinky mess at the bottom. Because Queer, as with most of Luca's movies, does not provide the satisfaction of a crafted work and instead feels like the product of a charismatic auteur who takes his genius for granted and has long since lost the ability to self-edit, if he ever had that ability.
Just say
to
you hate gay people.
How dare you? Is it cool to watch Daniel Craig in his rumpled linen suit walk down the streets of Mexico City in slow motion while Nirvana's Come As You Are plays on the soundtrack? Yeah, it's cool, but it also doesn't amount to a whole lot. Queer is not pure cinema. One of my favorite classifications that I reserve for the real movies. Queer is not pure cinema because its various stylistic lunges never cohere into a single unified experience. Can we cut to Joe real quick? Similarly, this is the saddest part for me. I was not as impressed with Daniel Craig's performance as I had hoped. He is certainly doing a lot of acting in this movie, Joe. There's a lot of acting. A lot of APM, acting per minute, is happening in this movie, but the overall effect didn't move me as much as I had hoped. Now, a lot of that also has to do with Drew Starkey, who I found to be the weakest link in this movie.
Wrong, asshole.
He has the look.
How wrong can you be, man? Please excuse me. I'm so sorry. You were in the middle of
What's wrong with you?
I'm so sorry, dude.
There's movies I like too that you don't like.
So sorry. Go ahead. Man.
Now look, Drew has the look. He has the look, but not the chops. And without a stronger performance in that role, the movie's themes of desire and longing, two of my favorite themes.
Oh, this is the worst review of all time.
Did not carry the same weight. Jason Schwartzman, however, is very good. I liked him. I don't think Queer is a bad movie, despite Joe's going to paint it that way. I don't think it's a bad movie. Okay. I think it's definitely worth seeing, and I'm not going to be surprised when it continues to get nominated for a bunch of awards. I just found it to be, like most of Luca's movies, overhyped and over-stylized and lacking in mastery and craft.
Jesus.
And specifically the kind of mastery you need to not get swallowed by this kind of maximalist aesthetic, which is an eye for nuance and subtlety amidst the maximalism, and the patience to create tempo so that the movie's emotional gut punches are properly spaced and executed. Luca is not a visionary. He really isn't even all that naughty when it comes down to it. Luca is the Emerald Fennel of Paolo Sorrentino's, and he doesn't do it for me. Sorry. 3.5 out of 5. Joe, what'd you think of Queer?
Gosh, I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm coming back down to earth. I'm like seeing stars right now. But
you didn't make the movie, Joe. Like, you don't have to take this so personally.
No, okay. My review of Queer. No, Brett, I completely disagree.
Great.
I completely disagree. I actually feel more assured than ever that Luca is one of like the best living directors. He's so self-assured. I love him and his team, and I love the kinds of movies that he makes for him, and I love him for it. So let's talk about Queer specifically. Okay, first of all, this team, Justin, the screenwriter, he wrote Challengers, Mukdeepram shot Challengers, Luca Challengers, Atticus Ross, and what's the other guy?
Trent Reznor.
That
I love that Trent Reznor is the other guy.
They're part of
Yeah.
So they got the team back together. They did Challengers and they did Queer. And it was amazing watching both these movies sort of bookending the year when Challengers is like this spirited look at how fucking fun and scintillating and athletic and energetic it is to be gay in 2024. Just like gay, and it's amazing and it's fun. And it's like, oh my God, it's kooky, it's crazy, it's challengers. Yeah, at the end they all make out and hug. It's great. And then Queer is like the yang to that yin, where it's like being gay wasn't not fun, not like in the very recent past. Being gay was actually very, very difficult. But this movie doesn't feel bad for itself at all. This movie is full of life. It sometimes looks like an El Greco painting, and sometimes it looks like
El
an
Greco rolling over in his grave right now. Just
roll, bitch! You fucking homophobe El Greco, kill yourself,
just
dude.
Like one shin bone and a bunch of goo just rolling over in its grave right now.
Sometimes it's like reminds you of like an El Greco painting with the Mexico City, like the way that the lights and the people are all there, very like beautiful. And then sometimes it'll remind you of sort of old, gorgeous Hollywood sets, almost sort of like zoetropy, almost reminding me of
One from the Heart.
With how beautiful and movie-like some of the sets felt. His Mexico City that they create is both this sort of like gorgeous set and also this like gritty, lived-in sort of setting. Daniel Craig's performance is so good. First of all, like, he looks so cool and good sometimes, and when he's sick and not looking good, he looks so bad and ill, and it is so like painful to watch him and his drug addiction and his guilt and his self-hatred and self-loathing like manifest on Craig. This guy, there's this one amazing shot where he like sets up heroin, shoots heroin, smokes cigarette, takes a drink, smokes cigarette, smokes weed, takes a cigarette, eats a pill, smokes cigarette. It's this very like long shot that ends Act 1. It's fucking amazing. Craig's doing 18,000 things with his face, and he's blowing smoke like the fucking like master. I could watch this motherfucker act all day long. I love Daniel Craig in this movie. The other performances are good too. Leslie Manville, so funny and kooky performance. Great. They make her this like weird hippie ayahuasca lady. It's very funny, and you don't see her like that often.
And just her like her maw, her like toothless mouth is amazing.
Jason Schwartzman. I always forget this guy's name.
Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah. Jason Schwartzman.
Max Fisher.
Yeah, of course. Jason Schwartzman has like almost never been funnier. They gave him the double whammy of gay best friend and a fat suit, and it is and it is really funny and awesome, and he fucking nails it. And then there's Drew Starkey. I mean, who is two things at once. He is this sort of like unattainably attracted, beautiful object for which William S. Burroughs' character Lee like obsesses over. But Drew Starkey's sort of stone face is being misinterpreted as bad acting in this movie. Drew Starkey's character is, despite going pretty far with Lee, literally traveling with him to South America, like he is not available for being open to his sexuality. Like, yes, he'll fuck guys, and yes, he'll go on trips with Lee, but he is not available for any of this, like emotionally, and that's why he is super duper distant. And even at the end, when Leslie Manville's like, you should stay and do ayahuasca more and go deeper and learn yourself more, he disappears into the jungle, and Daniel Craig never sees him again. And and then it jumps ahead, spoiler alert for the end of Queer, and he is dying at the end as an old man, like 40, 50 years later in Mexico City, in that same in that same hotel room where he used to have these one night stands, or where he used to sleep with Drew Starkey. And on his deathbed, he's still alone. He's still reviled because of his past and because of his sexuality. He has nobody. And in that moment, he remembers when Drew Starkey, draped his leg over Daniel Craig's leg when he was dying in South America from like a lack of like opioids and heroin and all of that. And it was this like one little piece of physical contact that was the best moment of this guy's life, because he wasn't allowed, to have any other kind of life. So anyway, thematically, I loved it. Performance-wise, I loved it. Visually, I loved it. The music, loved it. And Luca is still Luca, so it's still maximalist, but there's so much restraint in this one. It's very meandering, which is lovely, very like literary, and very deep and very beautiful. And I think it was one of the best movies of the year. I'm going to give Queer 4.5 stars.
4.5 out of 5. There you go.